Right. Hey, folks, it's Faz here from Fazlifts. Today, I want to cover what is a hard gainer. And this is a response video to Derek's latest video. Derek from More Plates, More Dates. We're talking about GOMAD and hard gainers. Now, before I get into that, if you like my work, then please do like, comment, subscribe, and share this around. So just to get on to the topic, the reason that it's important to make this distinction is that a hard gainer is not just somebody who finds it difficult to put on weight, full stop. All right, that seems to be commonly misunderstood. So it's said by Derek, and it was also been said by Jeff Nippard and a few others, that a hard gainer is just the inability to put on weight. It's not what that is. You can get fat hard gainers as well. Trust me, I know, I was one. So you can get fat hard gainers too. So the reason that this video is important, the reason that you need to know the difference of what the actual definition is, because if you just pile a hard gainer full of calories, all that's going to happen is they're going to get fat. Right now, so then you've got double the problem at that stage, because not only have you got a guy who's got the inability to put on muscle, but now they're also fat too. So not a good situation to be in. So they're fat and they're under muscled, probably look skinny fat or even worse. So that's not good. You can still get fat hard gainers, right? So to give you a bit of a background on my knowledge on this, I was one of the OG hard gainer crew. I wrote for the Hard Gainer magazine in the early 2000s, 20 years ago or so. It was a worldwide publication which went out to people, and I had some articles in there. And I was well versed in what hard gainer is and the implications for training and diet for hard gainers. So the problem is that if you just lump everybody who's a hard gainer in with this sort of category of saying that they are high metabolism, hard to put on weight people, you can then give out recommendations for diet like this whole GOMAD to guys out there who aren't ectomorphic high metabolism hard gainers, but they are actually fat hard gainers. So plying them full of calories with the false hope of saying, okay, you know, you're going to gain loads of muscle, all that's going to do is going to ruin their physiques. It's going to ruin their insulin sensitivity. It's going to ruin their health. And it's going to have worse implications for the fat hard gainer than it is for the naturally lean and skinny hard gainer. So there is a big difference. Hard gainer, in the way that it's traditionally been used, the way that we used it back in the day, was actually an inability to put on muscle tissue, not just an inability to move the scale. And that's really important. And the reality is, as we all acknowledged back in the day, hard gainers are pretty much just your average guy. Okay, like with everything, it's a bell curve. You know, you've got your average people right there in the middle, and they are usually the hard gainers / average gainers. You've got your genetic elite on one side, your pro bodybuilders, your Ronnie Coleman's, your Arnold Schwarzeneggers, and on the other side, you got the real like shit pile, basically, of guys who just can't put on any kind of muscle tissue no matter what they do. They're rare, and most of the time it's correspond to some other issue in their training or their diet, but they are there. They just have a worse genetic response, but everyone can make progress. So I've highlighted what an actual hard gainer is, and I've also highlighted why it's important to know the difference, because you don't want to plow calories into somebody who's an actual hard gainer just to get the scale moving, because if they happen to be not a naturally lean hard gainer, if they just find it hard to put on muscle, all that's going to happen is you're going to take a guy who is just happy being a regular dude and make him really fat for no reason on some kind of weird dreamer bulk. And if you think about it, that's the majority of people. Like if we're piling on, you know, what was it, 24 pounds in a month, then you're just going to get fat and it's going to be really bad for your health. All right. So that's why it's important. Now, the idea for true hard gainers, that's the inability to put on muscle, or just your average guy, all you need to do is to make sure you have all the variables down. So make sure your training is progressive on the basic exercises, and you are not succumbing to this whole sort of chronic routine changing, that you're just changing stuff around every few weeks. Stick to something, keep at it for a while, make some progress, stick at it for like 6 months to a year, make some good progress on it. In regards to diet, eat enough that you're gaining 1 or 2 pounds per month, and that's about it. For a naturally fat hard gainer or for a naturally lean hard gainer, it both puts them in the right range. All right. And in terms of recovery, base it on your training and diet. If you are progressing in the gym, if everything's going fine, odds are your recovery is okay. The gallon of milk stuff, just leave that at the door. Like a few guys did attempt it back in the day, like a couple of decades ago, but most of them just got fat. just add a little bit of milk on top of your regular meals. If you need calories, this is a good, nutritious way of getting calories in if you can tolerate it, but it's not the be all and end all. So in summary, I agree with Derek's recommendations, and I think he's great. I think I watch all of this stuff, but I just wanted to pick up on that definition of Hardgainer because it's commonly misused now, and it doesn't mean somebody who just has an inability to put on weight. It specifically refers to somebody who has inability to put on a substantial amount of muscle quickly. So it represents more of the average guy, and the implication is overfeeding someone who's got potential to be a fat Hardgainer, it's a bad time. So yeah, that's why it's important to understand the actual definition. It's important to be a little bit finicky about these details. All right, folks, hopefully you found that useful. If you have, drop me a like, comment, share, and subscribe. There is room at the bottom if you're watching on YouTube to ask me a question or to work with me. So please go ahead and do that if you want. And great, I will see you next time.